Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a little scene in 1 point perspective. The first thing we want to do is just draw a straight line across the paper. And on that straight line, come in and put a vanishing point. Now all of your diagonals will go to that vanishing point. So anywhere you start out here, that's going to create a diagonal line to that vanishing point. So let's go for something like that and something like that. Okay. So now that we have a vanishing point, we can draw some buildings if we want. And one thing I'm going to do is come over to that diagonal line that I drew, start right there and draw a line straight up. Walk down that road a little bit and draw one more line straight up. Now to find, maybe that's the face of the building, find the height of the building. You can make it any height you want. Just come over to this line right here. We're just going to make 1 point on that line. That's going to be the height of the building. From that point, we're going to go right over to our vanishing point. And now we have that diagonal line that shows us the top of the building, the roof line of the building. Okay, from each of these corners, we need a straight line back. And then to find the back of the building, a vertical line down. All right, and then there it is with the lines cleaned up. So it's just easier if I kind of stop and erase for a second as we go. So I'm just going to go over here and let's make a different building on the opposite side of the street. We can make any buildings we want here. So I'll just come over to the opposite side of the street and draw a vertical line up. Maybe it's a taller building. And to find that other side of the front face, draw another vertical. Okay, so I'm going to make this building a little bit shorter. Maybe that right there is the height of the building. And then I'll put that diagonal in, pointing from that mark to the vanishing point. Here's my corner of the building, bottom corner. And I'm going to draw a line straight back from that. Oops, a little wobble in that. Let me correct that. All right, there we go. And then we're going to take that top corner of the building and draw a line straight back horizontally from that. Now to find the back of the building, we can make it anywhere we want really, but it's got to be a vertical line. So I'll start here at that top line and just drop a vertical down. So now we've got that building, and I'll pause and clean it up. All right, so let's put a new building in, and let me grab my brush tool, and I'm going to use a different color so it's a little bit easier to see. So next to this building, maybe we'll put something a little taller. So just starting here, and we'll do a straight line up, and then we'll come down the road a little bit. We'll get that other side of the front face of the building, and we'll start at that diagonal, drawing a straight line up. Maybe this one we're not going to see much of the side of the building. So now we want to find the height of that building. Let's make that kind of up to, oh, I don't know, maybe there. I'll start there. I'll go to the horizon line here. And now we have the top of that building, and I can use that corner just to project a straight line off the page. That's going to be all we see of the building. Do that. Okay. So now we have two buildings on that side of the street. Let's make this building have maybe kind of a tower on it. So from that building, I'm just going to project up a vertical. And then maybe the face of the tower is a little bit more narrow than the face of the lower part of the building. So I'll take a vertical up from right about there. Okay, and then I still want to find that height. So I'm going to make this a pretty tall kind of second story, second plus story tower. And maybe I'll make it come up to about there. And I just take that back to the vanishing point, and now we have the diagonal. And I can project a straight horizontal back from that corner, and then a straight vertical down. I'll pause. All right, so that is our little scene kind of cleaned up a little bit, just so you can see the buildings as solid. I erased some lines that we would not see. And then we can continue. You can add whatever you want to this. So let's just say you wanted to add kind of that stripe down the center of the road. what you're going to want to do is come in here with your brush and find that, center stripe area. You'd kind of see it right here down the center of the road. And maybe one side of the first stripe would start about there. Now draw that diagonal line all the way up to the vanishing point. Stripes aren't that wide, so maybe the second side of it would be about here. And we're going to draw that point all the way back to the vanishing point. Now it's just a matter of coming up with some horizontal lines to break these up. Now they're much wider and larger as they're closer to us, so they are going to get smaller and smaller as they move back in space. So make that one about that big, and we can get a little smaller even on the gap between them. And we get a little smaller yet. Okay, so those are kind of disappearing into space, and we just want to kind of continue to make those marks as long as you can make them clearly. And then we'll go ahead and clean those up a little bit. All right, so those are a little more clear, and you can just kind of keep going. You can put on doors, you can put windows on, whatever you want. So I'll show you like one little example of how you can continue on this building. I'm going to go a little closer so that we have like a slightly better view of one face of the building. It's a little bigger, but hopefully you can kind of make out what this is. Oops. Go back one more little bit. Okay, so with our brush tool, I'm going to go ahead and make a doorway on this building. It's going to be pretty middle center of the building, so someplace in here, and I'll just take my brush and draw that. Oops. Draw that right up in here. So just from the diagonal line up, we'll put a doorway. Other side of the doorway, we're just going to come up the line a little bit, draw that other side. Now because this doorway is probably going to be lower than the horizon line, I'm imagining this is maybe like 2 stories of a building or something like that. What we can do is everything, that diagonal is going to be going below the horizon line. So if that is our doorway, the top of the doorway is going to be there. Okay, so every diagonal line just has to point to the horizon line and the vanishing point. Whether that diagonal is happening below the horizon line or above it, they're always going to point to that one vanishing point for 1-point perspective scenes. And so you can kind of create windows, doors. Let's maybe make a window through here. Just do another vertical line and another vertical line here. Okay. Maybe another window. Continue this line out and maybe make the top of the door the same height, as the top of the window. Like that. There we go. Okay, so I will go ahead and pause and just clean that last little bit up. All right, so there you have it. That's moderately cleaned up. You can kind of see the buildings. That's a little bit more solid, and you could take this same method and just kind of add as many details as you want, or even more buildings or other objects. All right, thanks.